What is something super important that is on the verge of happening? A huge revamp in how we recycle. We used to send everything to China, but they stopped taking our crap. China is focusing on China's trash, and we tried to do the same, but many companies are getting very picky with what they will collect. It's going to come down to some sort of compromise between consumer and producer to make less waste in general. Right now very little of what we put in recycling bins is recycled. Edit. Check out what Taiwan does to force citizens to recycle. For some positivity, we're on the verge of having a net positive increase in trees rather than decrease. Apparently we're already at or near a net zero. Doesn't mean you should stop caring though. Edit. Okay. Row. This where I say thanks for the gold. Some people asked for source. I'll have to find it. I read this a few months ago. Freaking finally something that doesn't make me wanna die. Edit. Thanks for the upvotes guys. I really appreciate it and it brightened my day so much. You all are wonderful people and I hope you all have amazing days. Holy Christmas, thanks for the gold, I really appreciate it. Fusion energy. Every week a new result comes out where the plasma has been kept stable longer, at higher temperature, etc. With the international collaboration on building first prototypes of positive net energy fusion reactors, we will change the world overnight. Free energy, very little pollution, basically forever. Edit. This seems to be getting some traction. I'll put a few things I found interesting here, since I cannot keep replying since I really have to get some work done today as well. Many comments are skeptical and rightly so. Fusion is a bit of a running joke that's always just around the corner. I believe this time it's different. This is a nice brief vid that does a lot better job of explaining why than I could. The second most heard reply is that if it happens, it will be ridiculously expensive. Here's a nice paper with a thorough analysis of the costs involved that impressed me. Hint, it's not expensive. Will we get other renewables faster and cheaper than fusion? Could be. We'll have to see. I don't much care as long as we get off the fossils. Last week, a Pakistani-based terrorist blew up a bus containing 41 Indian soldiers in the disputed territory of Kashmir. India blamed Pakistan for the attack and swore revenge. Pakistan had replied saying that India takes revenge, they will retaliate. Yesterday, a group of Indian fighter jets crossed into Pakistani airspace, conducted an airstrike on the terrorist camp in Pakistani territory. If true, this could start an Indian-Pakistani war, where both countries are nuclear powers. Update. Looks like the verge of happening actually happened. Pakistan put down 2 Indian fighter jets and captured one of the pilots. India has also apparently put down a Pakistani fighter jet. Also significant to note, these two countries have already fought a war while both having nuclear weapons. I believe it's the only war ever fought with both sides having nuclear arms. As Wi-Fi covers more and more of the country, phone companies will lose their ability to charge exorbitant prices because telephony will be available everywhere. The Jick-Jack will be all you need, all calls and texts running through the internet. I couldn't find my phone, so I asked Alexa to call it. She didn't know what I was talking about. I recited the numbers to her and she called my phone, which I found. I then asked her to add my number to her contacts, so when I say call my phone she'll call it. She didn't understand. I told her she wasn't very smart, she's pissed off at me. Alexa and I have maintained a civil relationship so far. We stick to her quirky trivia every day when I say Alexa, good morning, weather reports, and playing songs. Neither has resorted to name calling yet. I used to make skills for Alexa and Google Assistant. Alexa is really bad compared to the competition. Edit. Well, I woke up and I have received a lot of questions. I will do my best to answer them. 1. I wrote software that made it so Google Assistant and Alexa would understand new commands. You would say the command that I set, then my code would run on Amazon servers. It was the same code for both Google Assistant and Alexa. It was only hosted once. 2. I was basing my original comment off of 2 things. The first being the average words correctly understood per word spoken ratio, which was worst on Alexa. I can't find the data anymore, but when I was doing this, I read an article saying that Alexa's was around 77% words understood correctly per word spoken. It was the lowest of any voice assistant. If I remember correctly, this data was given by a competing assistant that is not one of the top players in the voice assistant market. I believe it was Snips, so it should be taken with a grain of salt. The second reason I don't prefer Alexa is because of the process in which you make skills. Alexa requires you to list every possible thing the user can say. You can use variables, called slots, but they have to fit into certain categories that Amazon defines. A color or a country name would be examples of these categories. You can also make your own categories, but you would have to put every possible valid value for that variable in a list. So you can't just have put any word here. With Google, instead of having to list everything the user can say, they have you put in a handful of examples of what the user would say. Then it infers what the rest of the list would look like. It then gives you a confidence rating, and you can choose to reject it or ask for confirmation if the confidence rating is too low. This also works for variable categories as well. You just list a few possible values and it infers what the rest of the list would look like. 3. I don't know which one is best for users. In fact, I don't use any of them. I think they all sort of blow. Within a decade or so there will be an explosion in the number of people in their 50s and 60s that require a place in a residential nursing care home. If you look at the age of the population in care homes at present, they are mostly very elderly people that in their youth and middle age had active jobs or lived active lives without even really trying. They walked to the store, walked to work or cycled, and the housewives were active in their day-to-day activities, not to mention the amount of people in manual labor. They also ate fairly healthy diets and in the main were not obese. Today many people sit at a desk all day and eat rubbish. The vast majority do not keep themselves active or do any kind of resistance and cardio workouts to balance that. Obesity rates are such that we have people in their mid-40s that find it difficult to mobilize themselves and have pain when walking or getting out of a chair. I was speaking to an orthopedic surgeon a while ago about this issue, connected to my work, and his view was that a lot of people are focusing on diabetes as the ticking time bomb health-wise, when in reality the amount of health and mobility issues caused by obesity will hit just as hard. So within a decade or two we will see the youngest population ever requiring nursing care due to immobility. I live in developing country. The glut of fake news wreaks havoc in day-to-day life wherein not so educated people are not at all able to differentiate them and they treat WhatsApp forwards as absolute truth. These fake news are impacting people on sensitive issues such as religion. If not controlled, these would have devastating consequences in my opinion. Edit 1. People are asking about what it all has to do with religion. Some power groups use social media channels to spread false news about wrongdoings of other groups to incite hatred against particular religions and radicalize people, leading to communal riots. This has all become part of vote bank politics. Edit 2. This is my first answer to cross 1k upvotes. Thank you kind stranger for the Reddit gold. Malaria vaccine. There are dozens of promising candidates in early trials right now and hopefully at least one will be highly effective and affordable. This will be not only a huge game changer for eliminating malaria and improving the lives of hundreds of millions of people, but it will also mark a huge scientific success as the first vaccine against a complicated parasitic organism. Hopefully we will gain key insights from this process to be able to develop new vaccines for other complex organisms, such as HIV, TB, and influenza. Also, if you are an anti-vaxxer, F you. Edit. Holy cow, this blew up. 1. There is a currently approved vaccine ATS. https www.who.int-malaria-vaccine-implementation-keen that has completed stage 3 trials. It was approved in 2015, but is now rolling out in a pilot program to 3 major countries this year. However, the efficacy is non-optimal, prevented 40% of malaria cases in children over 4 years. Not to poo-poo this effort, but there are literally dozens of other competitors targeting different stages of the malaria lifestyle, and it is very likely at least one of these, or perhaps a combination of several, will be much more effective. 2. To those worried about overpopulation, which is a very valid concern, check out this video by Bill Gates. Improving health does not lead to population growth, but rather population stability as families have less children. 3. As many have pointed out, a malaria vaccine is just one part of a multi-pronged approach to malaria elimination. We also need mosquito population control, despite growing insecticide resistance, better anti-malarial drug treatment, despite growing drug resistance, and new methods of detection and surveillance, such as rapid diagnostic assays. Elimination this disease is one of the greatest challenges our race has faced, but I believe that we can do it. This is our generation's man on the moon moment. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm only 16, so I hope you didn't cringe from the editing. I hope we can get to 50,000 subscribers because I wouldn't be here without all of you. So thank you so much for your time and energy, and please subscribe.